Alright, when I'm done carving all the details in my second layer of clay, now I'm ready to attach layer 3. So if you noticed, I didn't put any detail lines in this section because this is actually layer 3, and if I had carved those details, it would get covered with clay, so that would have been a waste of my time. So I'm going to set this slab off to the side, and I'm going to use scrap slabs or roll a third slab that has to be big enough to fit that part of the detail. So I need to cut and transfer, or transfer first then cut, the contour edge of that piece of clay. That's going to be my third slab. So I'm going to take my ink pen and I'm going to transfer that. Then I'm going to use my fettling knife and I'm going to cut through where I see that line. If I can't see this line well enough, I would use my ink pen first to trace that a little deeper and then switch to my fettling knife. Okay, once I have that piece cut out, then I'm gonna transfer that, or rather attach this third piece to my slab of clay. And the reason why I like to attach first before I carve surface details is because when you stick these two pieces together, the hand pressure of you sticking them together is going to smear what you carved. So that's why I wait to carve until it's attached. And just like we attached before, you're going to need water in a bowl. You're going to brush inside the contour line on slab 2. You're going to turn slab 3 over and you're going to brush here. So this is score slip. You should see the score marks and the slip on the surface. And now step 3 is stick. I'm going to line that up. And I'm going to press hard enough to make sure they attach, but not so hard that I'm changing the shape of the clay. And lastly, smooth. And I'm just going to kind of wipe away the extra slip. I might have to go back over layer 2 and recarve some of those details that were close up to the edge. And then I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to smooth the edge of layer 3 to round that edge, kind of take away the peely look to it. And now I'm ready to use my plastic piece. I'm going to set that down on the surface, kind of check with my finger, is it lined up? I'm going to move that. And then I'm just going to repeat those exact same steps that we did before, where now I'm tracing in my texture marks. So that when I take this plastic off, I can then switch to my regular ink pen or another wooden tool to finish carving in the details. And this is a process of how you go about finishing your architectural tile piece. And then I would come back. If I can't see them well enough, I might put my stencil next to me or my photo next to me so that I can double check while I'm drawing that this is looking accurate. And if I make a mistake, I can just take my finger and smooth that out and try it again. Now, if you chose a really complicated building like I did, you're not going to be able to get every little detail exactly as you see it, but I'm just looking to see that you made an effort to really try and capture the majority of the details like you saw in the photo. And as you draw with your ink pen, you're going to notice the clay peels. Leave those peels there for now. When your clay is leather hard, those peels will wipe off a lot easier and they won't smear as you do that. Okay. So, while my clay is still wet, I can decide what sort of finishing details that I want to add to the surface. I always have to consider, how am I going to display this clay piece? So if I want to hang this clay piece on a wall, I have to carve into my first slab holes where the nails would go through to hang on the wall. So I'm going to take my needle tool, I'm going to lift my slab up off the table, and in the corner I'm just going to press all the way through the clay and then wiggle this needle tool. I want it to be wide enough that a nail could fit through there. So I'm just going to keep wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And I'm going to do the same thing in the other corner. Lift that up off the table, press my needle tool through, and wiggle that as I make that opening bigger, and then I can use my finger to smooth out the extra clay pieces. Okay, so now when this is finished, I can hang that on a wall.